Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see you all. And those who don't know me, I'm Edward Trapunski, and I am privileged and honored to be the chair of the jury for the Canadian Jewish Literary Awards. Dear friends, honored guests, Mr. Michael Levitt, Professor Carl S. Ehrlich, our benefactors, donors, and supporters, esteemed members of the jury, and most especially the best writers on Jewish themes in Canada. Welcome, Shalom Aleichem, bienvenue. This is the fourth successful year for the Canadian Jewish Literary Awards. The Canadian Jewish Literary Awards recognizes and rewards the finest Jewish Canadian writing. The jury considers books by Canadian authors or permanent residents of Canada written on subjects with Jewish themes or with significant authentic Jewish content. The awards have grown in stature every year, and it is, in my view, a cornerstone in the Canadian Jewish community's cultural calendar. By gracing us with your presence today, I can tell you obviously feel the same way that I do, and I thank you all for being here. Thank you for taking the time to savor a good book and a pause to consider a good idea. Now, before we get on with the ceremony, and I know that you all want to hear from the authors, just give me a moment. Culture is a major measure of the vibrancy of Jewish life in Canada. The Canadian Jewish Literary Awards contributes to the health of that communal culture by promoting not just Jewish writers and editors, but Jewish ideas, creativity, and scholarship. Honoring the best Jewish books of the year in the various genres allow us to better understand ourselves and our collective past, our shared present, and the uncertain world of our future. The Canadian Jewish Literary Awards is honoring 8 outstanding books for 2018. Winners have been declared in the following categories: fiction, memoir biography, poetry, history, scholarship, Holocaust literature, Yiddish, and books for children and youth. Please look in your program and you'll see all the categories and all the winners. And the award winners this year are Jewish and non-Jewish. They come from communities right across the country. Both young and more established writers are represented. The depth and the breadth of the books show the vibrancy of the culture and the appeal of Jewish themes for fiction and non-fiction writers. The authors we're honoring today are maintaining that long and significant tradition of outstanding literary talent and scholarship in the Canadian Jewish community and about the Canadian Jewish community. You're going to get a chance to buy all the books at the end of the afternoon. All of them are richly and equally deserving of your attention as they were of ours. We hope that you'll help us honor the authors by joining them after the presentation for tea and coffee and a reception where you can meet them, shake their hands, congratulate them, buy their books, and get their autographs. I do recognize that the highlight for all of you is hearing from the authors, and you're waiting patiently in anticipation, but there are some people that must be acknowledged. I want to thank my friend David Groskin for his technological support, the design of the website, and his strong editorial eye, and especially for the kindness and support that he shows. David will be live tweeting today. If you want to follow him or to tweet yourself or respond to him, he's using the hashtag CJL Awards. Judy Weinrib has helped us tremendously by reaching out to the community. She's a true friend of the Canadian Jewish Literary Awards. Once again, the Israel and Golda Koschitzky Center for Jewish Studies at York University has played a vital role in presenting the Canadian Jewish Literary Awards. I'd like to recognize the valuable contribution of coordinator Julie Feinberg, who is outstanding in everything that she does. We appreciate her good humor, her good sense, and her hard work. Professor Carl S. Ehrlich is the director of the Israel and Golda Koschitzky Center for Jewish Studies at York University. He took us under his wing. When we decided the practice of honoring the best books on Jewish themes had to continue, Professor Sarah Horowitz was the Koschitzky Center director. She was our champion. She promised that she'd get the backing of the Koschitzky Center for Jewish Studies for the Canadian Jewish Literary Awards, and she did. Carl Ehrlich is our new champion. He's maintained the special relationship between the Koschitzky Center and the Canadian Jewish Literary Awards and enhanced it. He's been a steadfast partner in encouraging the concept of recognizing good writing and good ideas. I'd like you to please welcome Professor Ehrlich.
I'm not getting an award. You don't have to do this. Okay. Thank you, Edward. Good afternoon and Bruchim Habayim. On behalf of the Israel and Golda Koschitzky Center for Jewish Studies, I would like to welcome you all to this year's iteration of the Canadian Jewish Literary Awards. This is the fourth time that we are hosting these awards, and we are proud to be partnered with the CJLAs in celebrating the best of Jewish literary creativity in Canada. Thank you to Edward Trapunski and his panel of judges for doing such an excellent job and for placing your trust in our partnership. And congratulations, Mazal Tov and Yasher Koach to the most deserving award winners. Having used up my full repertoire of traditional Jewish references to literature during my words of welcome these past 3 years, I would like, with your permission, to say a few personal words about the importance of books to me. As the son of 2 immigrant refugee scholars, I grew up in a house full of books. Indeed, my most magical memories of childhood are inextricably interwoven with my bookish explorations of the world through the medium of the written word. Even during my most spectacular travels, whether through the European Alps or the Israeli desert, I was oftentimes oblivious to the natural wonders surrounding me, owing to my transportation through literature to other worlds, times, and places. Now, as I am reaching the age my parents were when they downsized, I must begin contemplating parting from some of my many shelved companions who have accompanied and consoled me through thick and thin over the course of my life. Parting may have been such sweet sorrow for Romeo and Juliet, but all I can think of in this context is Sophie's choice. Be that as it may, allow me to conclude my brief remarks by thanking the jury members for their hard work, our award winners for their inspiration and creativity, our center's coordinator, Julie Feinberg-Telesnik, for ensuring the smooth running of today's program, our caterer, Alona Tamsut, for her delicious provisions, our photographer, Gary Beachy, for his professionalism, our students for their help, and last but not least, our donors for their support. In particular, Julia and Henry Koschitzky, whose generosity has allowed us to mount this award ceremony today. Thank you all for attending. Enjoy our annual celebration of literary excellence, and I believe now I turn over the podium to our local MP, Michael Levitt from York Center.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here at the 2018 Canadian Jewish Literary Awards. I'd like to offer my personal congratulations to today's winners for their hard work, imagination, and skill, and thank today's organizers for inviting me to speak. In particular, I want to acknowledge all the efforts of Edward Trapunski and all the volunteers that have made today possible. Writing in all its forms is essential to any successful society. The expression of opinion, the introspection and argument it entails, is a contribution to the forum of ideas and debate that enriches our community and the democratic fabric of our nation. But more than that, writing provides a window into the soul of a people. It's in the written word that our history, our current struggles, and our future aspirations find their earliest and deepest expression. We have set out as a society the idea that every person must be able to read. We teach our children as early as we can and make reading to them, and eventually them to us, an essential part of our families. I can guarantee that I can ask anyone in this room, anywhere, what their favorite book is, what the latest book they read was, what book they want to read next or are reading right now, and not only could they name it, they could tell me how it made them feel, what it inspired or aroused in them, whether it made them think for days afterwards. Just recently, we've seen crackdowns on writers and journalists around the world. Writers are being attacked for the very ideas they present because they inspire people, and in some places, that's a great threat. Each story that's written represents an idea transmitted or a life lived that informs our own perspectives and ideas. The written word, more than any other medium, has the capacity for inspiration because, as much as we know that writing is a technical skill, it's as much an art. Writing helps us broach new themes and issues and introduces them to the public eye. It allows for the opening and voicing of informing of multiple perspectives from different backgrounds and every part of the social, economic, and political spectrum. Literature particularly helps foster a sense of community among readers and subjects, but it also aids in intercultural, cross-cultural dialogue. In the way that earlier Jewish writers gave us a lens into their worlds, from Isaac Bashevis Singer to Mordechai Richler, writers today provide us with invaluable insights into their experiences and communities. Jewish literature helps keep the Jewish community in Canada vibrant. New writers, especially, young or old, bring new ideas to the table and offer revitalizing takes on old themes. Their participation is indispensable. And to nurture the vitality and vibrancy through awards like these, we recognize the best work of our writers, the finest books on Jewish themes and subjects by Canadian authors across genres. They enrich and promote Canadian Jewish writing and culture. These awards, and the authors without which this would not be possible, build pride not only in the individuals being honored, but in our entire community's creative achievements of Jewish themes and ideas. The contributions to the Jewish community in Canada and Canadian society are, as a whole, invaluable. I'd like to recognize the contribution of York University's Israel and Golda Koschitzky Center for Jewish Studies, and of course, Professor Carl Ehrlich, in support of these awards. And once again, extend my sincerest congratulations to all of today's winners for their exceptional achievements. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Mr. Levitt. He's been a supporter of the Canadian Jewish Literary Awards right from the beginning. He's been active in the Jewish community himself, and his Jewish heritage has shaped his values, so he understands what the Canadian Jewish Literary Awards mean to the community and to Canada. I want to acknowledge our donors, our benefactors, our supporters, and the members of the community who have helped us. Through the generosity of a handful of generous patrons, we've managed to raise the funds to sustain the awards program. This afternoon is free, and we're inclusive. Everyone is welcome to appreciate meeting authors and hearing them speak. But we'd like to partner with you. Building a more robust donor base would allow us to increase the value of the prizes to winners, to attract more entries, to welcome larger audiences, and in turn to do more to promote Jewish culture in Canada. If you find Julie at the desk outside and tell her you'd like to make a contribution, she'll tell you how and even send you a charitable receipt. So please help us grow from strength to strength and to thrive. While the cash value of the prizes we're giving out this afternoon is significant for the writers, it's the reputation and standing of this jury that underscores its importance. The award winners are going to be doing most of the talking and the reading this afternoon, and the members of the juries will be doing the introductions. And I want to introduce the distinguished jury. Alan Goldschlager. He's the director of the Holocaust Literature Research Institute and professor of French at Western University and former chair of the National Task Force for Holocaust Education, Remembrance, and Research. Andrea Knight is an editor and former co-publisher of the New Jewish Press, the publishing program of the Anne Tannenbaum Center for Jewish Studies at the University of Toronto, and the former managing editor of the Azrieli series of Holocaust survivor memoirs. David Kaufman is the J. Richard Schiff Chair for the Study of Canadian Jewry at the Koschitzky Center for Jewish Studies at York University. Arlene Perley-Ray is a Canadian journalist, literary critic, and author. She's reviewed Canadian children's literature in the Toronto Star for many years and has written about children's books for the Globe and Mail, Quill and Choir, and Maclean's. Michael Posner is an award-winning author and playwright and former arts reporter and feature writer for the Globe and Mail. He was the associate managing editor of Maclean's magazine. He's the author of several works of nonfiction, including The Last Honest Man, Mordechai Richler, an oral biography, which won a Canadian Jewish Book Award.